Welcome everyone to biology class. This is Mr. Olson. Today, guys, I'm going to go through about 2 slides of notes, just a little bit of recap. Then we're going to do 2 demonstrations, and I'm going to kind of explain how those demonstrations tie into what you guys have been learning over the last week. Okay, so over the last week, you guys have been talking about water properties. So words like cohesion, adhesion, capillary action, xylem, maybe the phloem, the stomata, all those things were thrown out either in lab or throughout notes. And I understand at this point right now, you're probably a little bit confused. So I'm hoping that through these demonstrations, we're able to tie and kind of connect some of those bridges for you so you guys can fully understand. Now, there's going to be a couple pauses throughout this, guys, just doing some transitions to make sure the camera gets in the right place. So just bear with me. I will pause it. So if it shifts, not people, but it shifts positions, that's what I'm doing just to make this video as seamlessly and flawlessly as I possibly can. So just bear with me, guys. Let's get going. First thing I want to talk about, guys, is the term capillary action. Now, this is a little bit on our other notes that we've taken, I believe, last Friday, or maybe it was Tuesday of this week, one of the two. Okay, but capillary action, it is adhesion and cohesion together. Now, before we even go any farther, let's remind ourselves that adhesion is when water bonds to other molecules. Okay, so let's say it's water plus salt. Okay, but cohesion, for instance, is water plus water. Okay, so attraction of like molecules. So adhesion, attraction of different molecules, and cohesion, attraction of like molecules. So in capillary action, water coheres to water, and then the water also adheres to the xylem. Now, what is the xylem? Okay, it is a part of the plant, guys, that takes the water from the roots and moves it throughout the rest of the plant. And I'm going to kind of show you a little demonstration with that today. Okay, so bear with me. Hold on. Okay, the next thing I do want to talk about briefly is this. I just want to show you what it looks like, kind of instance where it's at. Okay, so we have the xylem, which transports water up from the roots, and we also have the phloem, which transports sugars produced in the leaves during photosynthesis down the plant. Okay, so both these things, guys, are going to be important, especially for today, guys. We need to know the xylem, we need to know capillary action, we need to know adhesion, and we also need to know cohesion. Okay, so capillary action, guys, just remember that it is adhesion plus cohesion, and we're going to start moving forward with everything else. Welcome back, everyone. Demo number 1 is going to deal with adhesion and cohesion. I'm going to talk about soil types. So some of you guys have looked at some soil types if you were an A student and you were here on Tuesday during our microscope lab. So today we're going to deal with 3 different types of soils. We have our garden soil, which just has normal dirt. We also have sand. We are also going to have clay. Now, our clay, for example, guys, is super fine. Okay, it's pretty much a powder. Okay, take that to note. So what I've done is I have 3 graduated cylinders, all of them with roughly 30 milliliters of the solution. Okay, so 30 milliliters of dirt, 30 milliliters of clay, and 30 milliliters of sand. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to pour these into these cups that have a coffee filter. Okay, we're going to see which one of these soil types can actually absorb the most water, and then we're going to compare absorption to adhesion and cohesion properties. Okay, so I have all 3 of those. I'm going to be right back. I have to pour some water, and then we're going to get going. Hello. Okay, so during the break, guys, in each graduated cylinder, I put 30 milliliters of water. Okay, all I'm going to do, guys, I'm going to pour these 30 milliliters of water into each container. Now, if you guys understand how coffee is made, this is kind of doing the same thing. So the water is going to run through the substance we have. It's going to run into the bottom of the beaker. Now, this is when we test, guys, is how much water actually comes out. So, hypothetically, if sand kicks me out 30 milliliters of water, that means it has 0 absorption, which means it probably doesn't have any adhesion properties. But clay, for instance, only gives me 5 milliliters of water. That means it absorbed 25 milliliters of water, meaning it has a whole bunch of adhesion properties. I'm going to get to that. Okay, I'm going to let these go for a little bit. I do want to talk about one more thing that's going to tie in capillary action. It's going to tie in the word stomata, adhesion, and the term cohesion. It's done on my desk. Thank you. Okay, welcome to the second demo I'm going to show you guys. So, in this beaker, that's probably new, okay, is celery in blue food coloring. Now, why is it in blue food coloring? The reason for that, guys, is I want to be able to show you how water actually moves up through a plant, okay? So, first thing is we're going to look at this one right here. As you guys can see, the tips of the leaves are turning blue. You also look on the bottom, it's also blue. If I crack this piece of celery in half, there's also blue pieces on the inside of the celery. Okay? Now, the reason for this, guys, is because of xylem, cohesion, adhesion, and capillary action. If you guys remember right, capillary action is the way that we can move water up against gravity through cohesion and adhesion properties. Now, in plants, the thing that moves water upwards is the xylem. So in our case here, the reason why those little blue dots are blue because they are the xylem and are actually the pieces that are moving the water upwards through the celery piece. Okay, you know when you guys eat celery, you have those long stringy pieces. Okay, they get stuck in your teeth. That really thick piece, those thick parts are actually the xylem. They're doing a really good job at actually moving water up. Now I want to see if I can kind of get some of this focused in on here. I doubt it's going to focus super well. But if you can see those little dark dots in there, those are actually the xylem. Those xylems are responsible for the water upwards through the plant. Okay? Now, give me 1 second. I'm going to draw you a diagram. Okay, welcome back. If you've never had me before, I'm sorry, you're never going to see my beautiful drawings. But if you had me, you probably know that I'm actually really bad at drawing. Okay? But I want you guys to have a picture. This right here is a celery stem, okay, or a celery stalk. So this and this, same exact thing. Got it? Boom. Celery. I got some stuff on the board. So, we all agree that there's water in the bottom of the dish. Okay, so in the bottom of the beaker. That's down here. This is water. Beautiful. Perfect. Now, that blue water, that blue dye has somehow gotten all the way up here. How did it do that? This is how it works. So I'm going to draw big photos so we understand. But if we have one water molecule, it's in the plant, so we have H2O. Okay? The H2O is perfectly by itself, that's totally fine. But since water is polar, it has a positive and negative end, and has adhesion and cohesion properties. So to start off with, we're going to have some adhesive properties. That water molecule is actually going to bond to the xylem of that celery plant. Okay? Now that's only one piece. So what's going to keep happening is we're going to keep stacking these water molecules. There's going to be more adhesion, but then there's also some cohesion between water molecules pulling the other water molecules up. And this keeps happening. So we'll have some over here, another hydrogen, another oxygen. These will bond over here. We'll have some right here. This will bond, boom, boom, boom. And we can just get this big cluster of bonding and then also bonding to the walls. Okay, this is going to make our water move against gravity. So going from cohesion and adhesion and making this into capillary action through the xylem. Now, there is probably a question that some of you guys are wondering, why does it keep going up? And when it gets all the way to the top, where does it go? Great question. Okay, in our leaves, there are stomatas. Okay, stomatas are kind of like little openings. They look similar to a lip. Okay, so they have the circle, they have one of these, another one of these, okay, and they're able to open and close. So what happens is that when water keeps coming up, when it gets to the top, if it's just plugged there, it has nowhere to go. But what's going to happen actually, these stomatas are going to open up and they're going to transpire, okay? They're going to do transpiration, they're going to let water out, meaning that more water can come back in. Think of this, guys, like a straw. If you cap the top of the straw, no more water can come through it. But as soon as you let off the straw, more water can come from the bottom through the top, as long as something is sucking it through. Okay? So that ties in the stomata. So we have adhesion, we have cohesion, creating capillary action. The stomata opens up, letting water out, allowing for this to occur. This is how we're able to make water move up through a celery stalk and have it come out the top through the leaves. Okay, beautiful. Now let's get back to our other demonstration. So our last demo that we've done, it has been working for a while now. So I want to start pouring some of these samples out so we can talk about and see what's going on. So we have garden soil right here. I'm gonna give it a little shake, get some of the extra water out. We'll pour it out. I'm gonna grab my clay, I'm gonna give it a little shake. I'm gonna pour it out. Okay. Put that there, let's put this there. Let's grab the sand, get a little shake. Let's pour it out. Okay. So what we have done is we have literally made like soil coffee. Okay. No big deal, guys. Just trying to make sure how it works. But let's go through some of these data points. I'm gonna write the data up on the board. I'm gonna kind of do some subtraction for you. I'm just show you how different things or different soil types actually have different adhesive properties. And we're gonna talk a little bit about the surface area. One second. Okay, last thing for today, guys, is we're gonna talk about what actually happened in this lab. So remember, we started off with 30 milliliters of water in every single test tube, or every single graduated cylinder, and we put 30 milliliters of water in every single one of these examples. Now, when all said and done, clay started off with 30, and I only was able to collect 5 milliliters of water. So 30 minus 5 actually gets 25 mil absorbed, okay? Sand had 30 milliliters to start with, and actually kicked out 26 milliliters of water. So only 4 milliliters was absorbed. And for the last one, for garden soil, we had 30, we had to put 20, meaning we have 10 milliliters absorbed. Now, how does that work? How is that possible that there is that much water absorption difference between them? One word is the word particle size, okay, and surface area. Now, we're going to get more into this as we keep going, but I want you guys to notice is that all of these things have some adhesive properties, but it deals with how much adhesive properties they're allowing due to what they have to actually bond to. So if we look at clay, it's really fine. It's really powdery, okay? It has a lot of surface area because it has a lot of really small particles, a bunch of small particles that have properties to adhere to the water, making it absorb a lot of water. Now, as for sand, which absorbs the least amount of water, this is big sand, okay? A lot of big sand, not a lot of surface area, can absorb a little bit of water. So all these things did have adhesion properties and did allow things to adhere to them, but it depended on how much surface area there was there to allow those adhesion properties to actually occur. The smaller the particle or the smaller the soil, the more surface area there actually is. Okay, since we all start with an equal amount. Then, with a smaller particle size, we had more adhesion properties, allowing them to absorb more, causing for us to actually have less water come through. Things like garden soil kind of have an in-between stage. Okay, they have a relatively large particle size, but not as big as sand, and they're also still pretty small, but not as small as clay. So this, guys, should hopefully help you guys tie in adhesion, cohesion, capillary action, the stomata, and the xylem. If you guys have any questions, please reach out to your teachers throughout the day. Please email us, guys. We're doing our best to help you guys understand this and understand to learn this. Other than that, guys, have a great day. See you guys soon.